Good morning. It is 7:11 a.m. on Friday, April 27th, 2018. I am Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Sometimes when you just emphasize words or syllables that are different than the normal pattern of speech, it makes your sentences sound weird. Yeah, I'm not practiced at that. I need to work on it. Um, Oh wow, yeah, I am super sleepy today. Well, you know what? I haven't had any caffeine yet. I was so tired, I forgot that I should drink some caffeine and it would help me wake up. I got a big book yesterday. That was the sound of the book. This is the picture of it. Um, I had also picked up the PDFs for the Fate core system that I talked about a little bit the other day, and Bulldogs, which is sort of a setting and a modification of the Fate core system. And then Starfinder is another type of tabletop role-playing game. I think I mentioned it in the video that I did the other day about it, where this one, my understanding is, I've never played Pathfinder, but my understanding that Pathfinder is, I don't want to call it off-brand, that sounds diminishing, but it is a different company's version of a game like Dungeons and Dragons, and my understanding is that it shares many similarities with the 3.5 edition of Dungeons and Dragons, which means that it actually still shares a lot of similarities with 5th edition, which is the one that I know. And then Starfinder is based, it's basically, another iteration that is highlighted on sci-fi type stories and mechanics. And so it has races and settings and classes and player options and everything. And I flipped through a little bit of it so far. I haven't read this whole book for sure yet, but a lot of it is very familiar. To me, having learned about Dungeons and Dragons, so a lot of the mechanics are very similar, and but there's a lot of interesting things about it. And so compared to, say, the Fate core system, which seems much more focused on narrative and less about having specific rule sets for every particular eventuality, this one is, I think, lots of times the term that may get used in RPG circles is crunchier, which I think has the appropriate feel to it, that word, just in the sense that there are a lot more rules and numbers to deal with instead of kind of just saying, yeah, you're going to try to do this thing, and whereas in a Fate core system, you might describe a specific action that you want to take. I want to try to hack into the security system. And in a Fate core game, you might just say, well, this is a difficulty 2, and you are going to roll to overcome an obstacle, and you just roll your dice, and is it higher than 2 or whatever? Whereas this one has rules for things like, oh, well, this particular hacking system has these certain types of countermeasures, and if you have that skill or this skill, you can say, okay, well, I have this skill which gives me that bonus, but I also have this ability where if I fail the roll, I can stop one of the countermeasures from happening. And so it has just a lot more detail in terms of how to, manage things like that. And it's very interesting. I like it, and in the same way that I like Dungeons and Dragons and its sort of setup of complex rules, I feel like I could enjoy this version of the game too, although my thinking right now, even looking through this, is that this idea of what I'm kind of working towards is not very solid right now, but I'm kind of feeling like it would be fun to run a game of some kind in a sci-fi setting. And one of the things that a couple of people have even mentioned while I talk about this is the idea of a game set in the Space Casey universe, which of course would be very fun. And I actually think that the Bulldogs campaign, or that game, tonally speaking, is very well suited to something like that. And so that is one of the things I'm considering, but it would be an overstatement to say that is the plan. But I'm thinking about it. I'm learning about these other game systems, and it's very interesting. I find it interesting just reading about them. Yep. So that's where I'm at this morning. Still need some caffeine, but I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes, and I probably will have seen Infinity War by then, so I will review it spoiler free as possible. I haven't seen it yet though, so I don't know how easy that'll be. All right, so I'll talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.